So today I'm going to talk about feet again. Yes, I've done previous videos talking about feet, foot issues and whatever, and both of those turned out to be really awesome. Thousands of people came by, saw that video. Some people even watched it all the way to the end, which I thank you for it. I hope I offered something that you could use, but that's kind of cool. So I wanted to go back because today I'm not really going to be talking about foot pain, but I am going to be talking about foot issues. But I'm going to talk about alpha lipoic acid first, because when I did that last video, and like I said, thousands of people came, over 60,000 people saw that video. So thanks a lot for that. But there were a lot of people who were talking about alpha lipoic acid R, or R alpha lipoic acid. I didn't know what that was. And, I just told everybody, look, I've just taken this regular old stuff. It worked for me. I can't answer anything about the R. And then there were some other letters that came up. I said, no, I stopped answering those particular comments because, I'm someone who usually likes to respond to comments, but there was just nothing I could say about those. And so after about maybe a month and a half after that, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some of the R, alpha lipoic acid. And I had to get it online because the price online at Amazon was $19.99, whereas if I went to one of those nutrition stores, y'all know those things, it was like $40. I said, nah, I ain't paying that kind of money. So I got, the regular R. And I got the R where it was 600 milligrams. So since I was already taking, 600 milligrams with the alpha lipoic, but that's just hard to say. Anyhow, I'm just going to call it ALA. So anyway, when I started taking the RALA, I took that for, I'll say, probably a month and a half. Didn't do a thing. Didn't change. I had the exact same feeling I had when I was taking the ALA, the regular. So maybe it's one of those kind of things because we all kind of react to medications or pills differently. Sometimes a majority will react a certain way, but we don't all just react to everything the exact same way. So I went back to the stuff I was getting, but I wanted to try something with that because, like I said, I reduced foot pain, early on, so I didn't have any problem with foot pain anymore. But I had mentioned in the video previous to that one that one of the problems I had was my feet always being cold. So anyhow, I started taking 1,000 just to see what would happen with that. Didn't change a thing for me. I'm not saying it might not work for someone else, but it didn't do anything for me. So I'm back to the stuff I was taking originally, the 600 milligrams ALA, and that's where I'm at. But I'm going to talk about the bigger issue that I've had, which is the cold feet. And yes, I live in a cold climate, so you would think that maybe that would be the issue, except, well, we have hot summers. Matter of fact, this year I think we hit the 90s maybe 7 or 8 times. That's not a norm in Syracuse, New York. So that's one of those weird things. And I have this driving job, so I'm driving around and it's cold, it's hot outside, but I've got air conditioning on in the car to blow on me, give me some kind of comfort, but my feet didn't like it. And there's this guy, he's on YouTube. His name is Dr. Eric Berg, B-E-R-G. And he offers all these different tips. And so he does this video, and I'm going to put the link, in the description. But he did this video talking about a way to get rid of your cold feet. And what it is you get one of those, water tubs that you have, you put a bunch of water in it, you fill it up with a bunch of ice, and then you put your feet in it for at least 2 minutes. I wanted to scream as soon as my feet touched the water. Your feet are already really cold, and now you're totally icing your feet. I did it for 5 days. The first 2 days, I was counting. I had the timer with me. I made it to the 2-minute mark. Did that. Dried off the feet. My feet were in pain. The last 3 days, let's just say that it went down, and then the last time was 1 minute and 15 seconds. I said, that's it. I'm never doing that again. I didn't feel warmth. I felt pain. I'm not one of those people who, wants to deal with pain. Someone can say, well, if you do all the pain, you will, succeed in the long run. Remember when you were in school and you're taking gym class and they were trying to get you to climb up that rope or do all those push-ups and all those other kind of things? No, that was never my thing. And I played sports, but I could never do any of those kinds of things. So that I said, no, I'm not doing it. But that was his suggestion. And there were people who commented on the video. And he's got over 4 million people. But there were some people saying that it worked for them, and then a few others who said it didn't work for them. I didn't go back and say it didn't work for me. At least I don't think I did. But no, I am just not one of those people who's going to sit through any kind of torture to try to solve something. So that didn't work. Then I had my podiatrist appointment. So I had a podiatrist appointment. I'll say it was like October 22nd. And I hadn't seen him in a year, so I go and I see him. And I had mentioned this to him the first time that I'd met with him. And so he says, we're going to try something. So he prescribed something to me called gabapentin. And Garapentin. Something I'd never heard of. He says, we're going to try this. And for the first week, I want you to take 3 pills a day, but take them all in the morning. And then for the second week, I want you to take 3 pills 3 times a day. He's, in essence, he basically wants to work me up to it. So I said, okay, fine. So I get the prescription and I start taking the medication. And pretty much after 2 weeks, I had a feeling, okay, this isn't going to work. I'm taking this extra pills and I already take a bunch of pills every day. So now what I had in the morning is I had 13 pills I'm supposed to take. And in the evening, I had 8 pills. And that's not even including my injection because I'm diabetic. I've mentioned that before. Now, here's the side effects for gabapentin. Tiredness, dizziness, headache, nausea, vomiting, fever, and memory loss. Now, I only had one of these, and it's very interesting because I did a video just before the election, and I wasn't really peppy to do it, but I did it anyway. And basically I said, you know what, I voted. I hope everyone else goes and votes. I hope it goes the way I want it to, but I still think that it's important that everybody goes and they vote. And the day of the election, I had the day off and I was just exhausted and I felt bad. And I spent most of the day in bed, which that's not me. I'm not one of those people. I have not had a cold in, I think, 10 years. So I haven't had that kind of thing happen. And I was just miserable. I slept off and on during the day. And around 9 o'clock, I had the spidey sense that, this isn't going to go the way I want it to. So I turned everything off and I just laid in bed and I finally went to sleep. And I woke up Wednesday morning and, okay, the person I voted for lost. And I was just depressed. So I wore what I call my morning clothes. So obviously I had a black shirt, wore a black tie, I wore black pants. And because the temperature was like low 50s, I wore, a black jacket, not a suit jacket, but a black jacket, just all black. And I wore my black dress shoes. And I was just depressed. And I still had to go out and deliver pharmaceuticals to different people. And I wasn't in the mood to talk to anybody. And I was just miserable. And it took a few days before I kind of broke out of that lethargy. Well, the first thing that's listed as a gabapentin side effect, tiredness. Well, I think that was mine because that's not something that I usually have. I don't usually have side effects to, pharmaceuticals whatsoever. So I took it for a couple more days after that, when I finally figured it out, and it didn't work. My feet stayed cold. That just didn't do anything for me. So I have another appointment with him in a couple of weeks, but what he said was, well, just take the rest of it, that you have. And I think we're going to take you off of it because usually if it's going to work, it's going to work really quickly. And it didn't work quickly for me. And like I said, the exhaustion, the tiredness, no. Luckily, I'm glad I didn't have the others. Nausea, vomiting. Oh my goodness. Headaches. I don't get headaches. Dizziness. That happens from time to time. But usually that happens when I haven't either eaten anything or if I took the insulin, but then I've done a little workout and I've got myself tired and that drops my glucose low. So that's a different thing. But the gabapentin, if that's something that maybe you want to talk to your physician about, give it. It's a prescription med, so you can't buy it off of Amazon. At least I don't think you can. Usually they don't sell prescription meds, but that's that one. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about was something that I mentioned in the very first video I did when I was talking about feet. And I said it early in the video where I said that, if I could have found it, I would have bought some Bengay. Because, when I used to play sports in high school, Bengay was the thing most of us used if our muscles were sore. We, rubbed Bengay on it. Didn't like it, but we used it. And then over time, I'd hurt my back and done some other things. And I usually already had a little bit of Bengay, but I just couldn't find it anywhere for the longest time. Then I find a tube of Bengay, ultra strength. So we've gone beyond extra strength, and now we're at ultra strength. I said, well, you know what? I might as well buy this thing, this big old tube. Let's see how that works. So the night before I went to bed, I, put on the rubber gloves, rubbed it on my feet, slept okay. Didn't really feel like it was like super, super heat like it used to when I was a lot younger. But during the day, when I'm driving around delivering pharmaceuticals, my feet were uncomfortable. My feet were still cold, but the top of my feet were hot. And truthfully, the top of my feet isn't the area where I have any discomfort. It's the bottom of the feet. It's like you feel the cold and it feels like the bottom of your feet are cold. And even if I'm wearing 2 pairs of socks and one of those pairs are these real thick warming socks, nothing. But the top of my feet were miserable. And I did 3 days of showers and then an extra thing where I tried to wash my feet, and it took that long to get this stuff off of my feet. So Bengay extra strength, I'm thinking if you've got foot pain or maybe you have cold feet, if you're gonna try it, put on the under part of your feet to see if that does anything. I never felt anything from the Bengay on the underside of my feet or the bottom of my feet. It felt like it was just the middle and in the toes. But if you're rubbing the top of your toes, then that got hot. That got hot for me, but I also still had the cold part. So I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen with that. I see the podiatrist in, the middle of December. We'll see where it goes. But, I at least wanted to share that information with everybody because this is what I do. I see how things are happening for me. I share it. And that's all I've got. So anyway, let me know your thoughts on some of the stuff I mentioned here. Don't bring up the R-alpha lipoic acid thing again because I tried it. It didn't work on me. Don't ask me what brand name I bought because I have no clue. I just bought some stuff that was on Amazon and there you go. And I didn't pay the most expensive thing for it because I didn't pay the most expensive thing for the regular alpha lipoic acid. Whew. I hope one of these years I'll figure something out. Oh, wait, that's right. I did forget this. I almost forgot this. What I did find out is that if I just put some hot water in that bucket that I mentioned about, and then I go just soak my feet in the hot water with nothing else on it, my feet will get warm within 4 to 5 minutes. And I did it in the evening. And that was actually comforting. So that worked. It didn't work for long, but it was a nice half hour of being able to walk around the house and not having my feet be cold. I could have put my feet next to a heater, But, you know, that's like it stays on top. But having the hot water in the tub made my feet feel more comfortable. Give it a shot. See if it works. Anyway, my name is Mitch Mitchell. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and we'll see when I do another one of these things. Y'all take care.